Let it resound out of the rolling sea. Every voice and sing the song. Every voice and sing the song. Sing the song. Let every voice and sing the song. Facing the rising sun. Of a new day begun. Let us march on. Let us march on to victory is won.
All right, so next on our schedule, we have the occasion, which we can welcome to the stage Dr. Ida Jones.
Good Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. 2026 marks a century of national commemorations of Black history. Dr. Carter Godwin Woodson, along with George Cleveland Hall, MD, William B. Hargrove, Alexander L. Jackson, and James E. Stamp, institutionalized the teaching, study, and dissemination and commemoration of Black history when they founded the Association for Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915. In 1925, when Dr. Woodson planned the inaugural week-long observation of Black history, he hardly could have anticipated the imprint he would leave on the world. From Negro History Week to Black History Month, the association has continued to carry forth the tradition, and the observances have become part of American culture and increasingly the global community. As part of the global African diaspora, people of African descent in the United States have viewed their role in history as critical to their own development as that of the African world. The American Negro must remake his past in order to understand his future, Dr. Woodson stated. Yet, by concentrating the attention of the American public on the scientific findings of history, he sought to turn the commemorations into an organized, sustained effort to transform Americans' view of African people. W.E. Du Bois said he literally made this country recognize and celebrate each year a week in which he studied the Negro exclusively. To that fact, in 1976, on the United States bicentennial, President Gerald Ford, the president at the time, issued a proclamation making it Black History Month by congressional law, Public Law 99-244, designating the entire month of Black history in February. These efforts have been since that time growing in museums, archives, libraries, and other countries around the world. In 1986, the late President Earl S. Richardson sought to institute 9 convocations contributing to the history and understanding of the African contributions through the arts, history, culture, and science. So we have 9 convocations throughout the course of the academic year. We have 3 exclusively in the month of February, and this is the triad. This is the last of the triad in February. So this year we're commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States' independence. It's important to tell the full story, the glorious story of our country as it seeks to become a more perfect union. Our speaker and interviewee, Dr. Moges Ayele, will share how the modern civil rights movement continued through equitizing public transportation in urban spaces. The creation of the Center for Transportation Studies provided the data on access, usage, and the needs of city dwellers to navigate without private vehicles. This work continues here on campus and continues the long arc of the civil rights movement. Thank you and enjoy.
Before we get into that, we have reflections on Perrin J. Mitchell and Dr. Benjamin A. Quarles by Mr. Jason Sanford, School of Global Journalism and Communications, class of 2025.
Benjamin A. Quarles was a prolific writer, a great wordsmith, the historian David Levering Lewis has said. His essays in the Mississippi Valley Historical Review in 1945 and 1959 were the first from a Black historian to appear in a major historical journal. This was at a time when the academic world considered Black or Negro history to be either non-existent or too limited in scope to be worthy of the term scholarship. The gatekeepers were dismissive of the subject and anyone who pursued it. Dr. Quarles made it his mission to prove them wrong.
Morgan teachers are research scientists, artists, writers, professional and educational leaders, consultants to private industry and government, and civic workers. Here you meet teachers like Dr. Benjamin A. Quarles, who is the foremost scholar of today on Negro history. He has done research at the invitation of the John Harvard Library and Oxford University. Dr. Quarles believes research interest in the Negro is growing.
I believe that in the last 10 or 15 years, there's been a marked increase in the interest in the historic role of the Negro in this country. I think this increase stems in part because of the United States leadership in the free world and our commitment to the principles of freedom. I think also the interest in America in non-Western cultures, Asian and African cultures, has had its role. And then I think, too, that the unfinished business of democracy at home, this has created an interest in depth in the historic role of America's greatest minority.
By 1952, he had published 2 major books, including the first scholarly biography of Frederick Douglass, and answered the call to another HBCU, Morgan State College in Baltimore. At Morgan, Quarles became chair of the history department and remained so until the mid-1960s. While at Morgan, he published 4 of his 10 books. In his professional prime as a renowned historian, Quarles thrived where he became known as an outstanding mentor and popular professor, the college's first teacher of the year. Although moved by other universities, Quarles remained in Morgan even after the age of racial segregation had ended.
I interviewed Nolan McConnell, and I asked him about Benjamin Quarles. I also interviewed Benjamin Quarles' wife.
Oh, yes, Brett. Mm-hmm.
And they were, what they described when they described Benjamin Quarles as a man who, he did all of his research, all of his books. He did all of his research himself.
Yes.
He didn't have any graduate assistants. I mean, Dr. Thompson used to say the difference between Negro scholarship and white scholarship is that when you go to Harvard, you got like you have a chauffeur limousine that takes you to the library, they give you tea, they offer you tea, you got grad assistants, that you were supervising. So the Negro's got to do it all himself.
Literally.
And a man like, of course, Carter G. Woodson, Benjamin Quarles, John Henry Clark. I mean, these people, are just so amazing. They did all this work themselves.
And
Quarles' wife, you can see the pain in her eyes talking about him. She said she couldn't get him to do anything but work. He was up all night, many nights writing, and she said at the library or something. And you can see the production.
He always made himself available to younger scholars like Paula Giddings, who wrote him in 1981 when she was searching for material for what would ultimately become the groundbreaking 1984 book, When and Where I Enter, The Impact of Black Women on Race and Sex in America. David Blight also wrote to him in 1981 when he was early into his work for a PhD, which he earned in 1985. Another of Dr. Quarles' mentees became a colleague on the faculty, Dr. Rosalind Terborg Penn, who was a pioneer in Black women's history. Dr. Quarles continues to inspire scholars such as those who participate in Morgan's Benjamin Quarles Humanities and Social Science Institute. It sponsors the Quarles Faculty Fellows in Research and Professional Enrichment, Quarles Graduate Student Scholars in African American and African Diaspora Studies, Quarles Undergraduate Scholars in Interdisciplinary Perspectives on the African American Legacy, and Quarles Summer Outreach Partnership with Baltimore City Public High Schools.
Quarles was not an egocentric man. He was very easy in his skin. He knew who he was. He delighted in being a good teacher and a better scholar.
You have obviously proven there's life after Congress.
I left the Congress because I felt that we needed an entity outside of the Congress. We got laws on the books for minority businesses, and obviously the Reagan administration chose not to enforce them. And I thought we needed that other thing on the outside, so I planned this. As Walter Popper, as Congressman Fauntleroy knows, I planned for this in 1980 when the administration came in. And the fund became operative in 1984. This nation made a great promise to minorities. It promised that the federal government was going to be committed to the development and enhancement of a strong, viable minority entrepreneurial class. In its promise, the federal government said that it would set an example, that by precept and conduct, it would set an example for the private sector to follow. In effect, our government at that point committed itself to the second phase of the civil rights struggle.
He was often referred to in mainstream media as an angry black man. Others called it righteous indignation, shaped by his experiences growing up in Baltimore. When a similar moment took place in 1933, when his older brother Clarence Mitchell Jr., a reporter for the Afro newspaper, returned home from covering the lynching of a young black man, George Armwood, on the Eastern Shore. Clarence was so disturbed by what he had seen that he vomited at the family dinner table. In that moment, life changed for Perry, who was 15 years younger than Clarence.
I love my brother very much, as most people know, and to see him that evening at supper, that my family ate all together, and to see him not be able to eat because of that. And the thing, I guess, that upset me most was, really, I didn't know what a lynching was. I was a little child. But whatever the thing was that had hurt him so badly, the fact that he was hurt, I guess, really started sparking my interest in this. Many years ago, it must have been in the late 30s, early 40s, there was something in Baltimore known as the Citywide Young People's Forum. And I remember my brother Clarence taking me there, and I was young. But it was a fascinating experience to see black artists, black educators come and lecture, sing. Out of that Citywide Young People's Forum, as you know, came the first challenge to the segregation at the University of Maryland Law School, the Diamond case. One of the participants in that forum was Thurgood Marshall. A whole host of a new level of leadership came into the city as a result of that Citywide Young People's Forum. Although I was very young at that time, I was old enough to understand exactly what was being said in terms of the discrimination, the racism. As a result of that, I remember one of my first picketing ventures was at Ford's Theater. But at that time, black people could only sit in the third balcony. And I remember night after night being there on that picket line, and the actual ugliness, the hostility on the part of some of the whites across the picket line, or who just annoyed us because we were there. And then the encouragement that came from some of the others. From that point on, it was just one thing after another. Once you got into it, events were breaking pretty fast, and that's the way it happened. I'm a firm believer in accepting the Constitution as it's written. And it says promote the general welfare. And for me, that means when everything else fails, when there are no jobs in the private sector, when the private sector is unable to provide low-income housing, when because of one circumstance or another people can't get the money to send their children to college, then that's the constitutional mandate to promote the general welfare when everything else fails. And that's where I come from. If my earlier statement is correct, that there's a new mood out there in the country, and as a part of that new mood, I think it's anti-civil rights. I really do. Then we're going to have a tough time for a while in civil rights. The court challenges, the charges of reverse discrimination and all of that kind of thing. But eventually, I think this nation will get back to the full understanding that it will never, ever be the power that it can be in the world until we have actually solved the problem of racism in America or reduced it to its irreducible lowest level. And I think decent people are going to understand that they're going to swing away from this anti-affirmative action, anti-civil rights posture at some time in the future. But I think we're going to have a difficult time for the next 5-6 years in that arena.
Now next we have Dr. Ayele, introduction. So he is a Morgan State College graduate with a BA in economics. He graduated summa cum laude in 1969. He went on to obtain 2 master's degrees, a master's in city and planning / transportation from the University of Pennsylvania, and a master's in public administration from the University of Southern California. He earned his doctorate in the public administration from the University of Southern California and received special training on leadership strategies for senior executives from the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. His professional experience, career experience spans 40 plus years of academic work at Morgan State University and Howard University, while he also served as a liaison in higher education to the federal government in transportation. So we're welcoming him onto the stage now.
Thank you, sir. This way. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate in this convocation, and I would like to thank Dr. Ida Jones for the invitation. As someone who has spent 27 years of his life in Morgan, 4 years as an undergraduate student, and 23 years as a faculty member, I have developed a deep and enduring and emotional attachment to this institution. I'm both delighted and honored to return to Morgan as a convocation speaker, particularly for a convocation named after 2 individuals whom I had known and admired greatly. Dr. Benjamin Quarles, as highlighted in the video that we just saw, and Congressman Mitchell made extraordinary contributions not only to Morgan, but to society at large. I first met both of them when I was undergraduate students in the mid-60s, and later got the opportunity and the privilege for knowing them very closely. Dr. Quarles was professor of history and a nationally respected scholar, and truly one of Morgan's great prides. On a personal level, I remember Dr. Quarles and his wife, Dr. Ruth Braith, who was the director of academic counseling in Morgan, for their kindness and generosity. They were among the families who opened their homes to foreign students, including myself, during the holidays and semester breaks when we had no families nearby to visit. That act of compassion left a lasting impression on me. I was also privileged to know Congressman Mitchell when he served as an adjunct professor in the sociology department before he became a congressman. In the 1970s, after he became congressman and I joined Morgan as a faculty member and a researcher in the Center for Urban Affairs, I had the opportunity to work with him and his staff. Congressman Mitchell was a strong supporter of our center and a close friend of my supervisor, Dr. Homer Faber, who was at that time the dean of the center. Later in the 1980s, after Morgan established the Center for Transportation Studies, and while I was serving as its director, Congressman Mitchell continued to provide invaluable support to the center in numerous ways. Now today, I have been asked to speak about my profession, transportation. Over the course of my career, I have served as an educator, as a researcher, and as a planner, and as an administrator of transportation programs. Today, I would like to offer a brief overview of the significance of the transportation industry, the need for African American participation in the industry, and Morgan State's efforts over the several decades to advance minority participation in the industry through education and research. I will limit my remarks to two areas. First, the importance of transportation to the nation, to our communities, and to our families. Second, I'll give you a brief history of the evolution of transportation, education, and research here at Morgan. Today, the United States has a vast transportation industry that includes multiple modes. We have aviation, airports, we have highways, and with million miles of roads, buses and trucks carrying people and goods. We have subway systems in major American cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago, and so on. And we have maritime transportation as well as railroads that carry both passengers and freights. These modern transportation systems are essential to maintaining the quality of life we enjoy today. We depend on them in much the same way that the human body depends on veins and arteries. Transportation allows us to go to work, attend school, access healthcare, visit families and friends, enjoy our entertainment, and participate fully in our daily lives. It's very difficult to imagine our individual lives and the lives of our communities without these transportation systems. Transportation is also the backbone of the economy on the national, state, regional, and local levels. It offers significant employment and business opportunities to its citizens, including, of course, minorities, and it affects virtually every aspect of our lives. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, approximately 16 million Americans are employed in transportation and related industries. That's more than 10% of the U.S. civilian labor force. Next to housing, transportation represents the largest household expense. The average American family spends about 20% of its income on transportation, while some low-income households spend as much as 1/3 of their income for transportation. This brief overview underscores the central role that transportation plays in society. Now, let me now turn to the history and evolution of transportation in Morgan State University. In 1979, while serving as a professor of urban planning, I taught the only course that existed at the time in the Graduate School of Urban Planning. I developed a preliminary proposal to establish a graduate curriculum, a comprehensive graduate education in Morgan, and there were two main primary reasons for the proposal. First, despite the vast opportunities within the transportation industry, African Americans were and continue to be significantly underrepresented in management and leadership positions across all transportation modes. We believe that Morgan could help address this disparity through education. Secondly, Baltimore was an ideal location for such a program. As a major transportation hub, the city has every mode of transportation. We have the Baltimore port, we have the airport, at that time it was Friendship Airport, the transit system in Baltimore, we have the highways, of course, and commuter rail serving the region, and this we thought makes Baltimore a natural laboratory for education and research. When the proposal was presented to the president, Dr. Billingsley at the time, he was very, very supportive of it, recognizing that such a program aligned perfectly with Morgan's mission as an urban university. He encouraged us to develop a detailed plan and implementation plan, and so we did that. And then ultimately the program was approved by the University Board of Regents and the Maryland State Board for Higher Education. As a result of that, Morgan established the Center for Transportation Studies and launched a graduate program in transportation in 1981. That's 45 years ago. Morgan became the first historically Black institution to offer a graduate curriculum in transportation with two areas of specialization, one in planning and the other in management. A few years later, Texas Southern University in Houston followed with a similar program. And we worked very closely together because we both had a similar mission. Despite early challenge, through strong recruitment effort, the program became successful. It began with an enrollment of 36 students and quickly became one of the more popular graduate programs in the university, in part because it was multidisciplinary and open to students with diverse backgrounds. To ensure the success of the program, the center established a strong relationship with transportation agencies in the Baltimore, Washington area, including the Maryland Department of Transportation and also the U.S. Department of Transportation. These partnerships supported numerous grant-funded research and outreach initiatives. One of the most successful initiatives was the establishment of an internship program with Maryland Department of Transportation, which was established in 1985. This program provided students the opportunity to get real-world experience in transportation agencies, working part-time during the academic year and on a full-time basis in the summer, for which they were paid. The program expanded to include students from fields such as business, economics, management, and so on. What was most remarkable to me is that the internship program continues to serve Morgan students today, more than 40 years after it was established. And we appreciate the Maryland Department of Transportation for continuing to provide funding for the program and making it part of its regular program. So that I thought was very helpful for the program. Now, the center also conducted several impactful research projects addressing transportation issues affecting African Americans. For instance, in 1983, the center hosted a national symposium on the role of minorities in the transit industry, attracting approximately 350 participants from various parts of the United States, representing government, transit agencies, private sector firms, and academic institutions. The published proceeding, which included policy recommendations, were widely distributed and were received by transportation professionals and policymakers nationwide, including our own Congressman Perrin Mitchell, who was at that time the chairman of the Small Business Committee in the U.S. Congress and a passionate advocate of minority businesses. The congressman sent us a letter in which he applauded the conference and stated that in the proceedings were, I'm quoting him, very enlightening and had good recommendations that I will consider as I continue my fight for economic parity. As you saw in the video, I mean, he was truly committed to the minority businesses, and He thought that what we produced here in Morgan was extremely valuable in his effort to promote the policy in support of minorities in the transportation industry. Another significant, impactful project involved research for the U.S. Department, the U.S. Coast Guard, which was part of the U.S. Department of Transportation at the time. It's no longer part of the Department of Transportation, but the study we did and analyzed the challenge facing the agency in attracting minorities in the Coast Guard. The center's recommendations led to a major transformation in the agency's civil rights program. So we did similar work for the U.S. Merchant Marine Administration, which was also part of the U.S. Department of Transportation. Now, in 1991, the center's success led to the establishment of Morgan's current National Transportation Center, supported by a grant of $5.5 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation, matched by another $5.5 million from other sources, including state and private sector, which meant that the Morgan was able to get over $11 million to support the National Transportation Center. This designation significantly expanded Morgan's transportation research capacity. Today, as a member of the National Transportation Center Advisory Committee, I'm very proud to say that Morgan has emerged as one of the most successful transportation research centers in the nation. I saw the director of the new center, Dr. Jihani, I see her there, and they're doing outstanding job in expanding and doing all kind of fancy work in the area of transportation. So just want to acknowledge her presence. Morgan's academic program has also continued to grow. In 2020, the Graduate Transportation Program celebrated its 40th anniversary, having produced more than 350 graduates now working across the country. Today, the department offers bachelor's, master's, doctoral degrees, as well as certificate programs. So in closing, I encourage Morgan students, regardless of their academic background, to explore opportunities in transportation. I guess first by actually visiting the center, the National Transportation, as well as the academic program that we have here in Morgan. Now, both of them, by the way, are located in the School of Engineering. While engineering plays a critical role, transportation solutions also rely on economic, policy, management, business and geography, and other disciplines. There is no single discipline that has a monopoly on solutions to transportation problems. So I want to encourage you that the transportation has different aspects and different area of specializations. So we need people not only in the engineering area, but also from other disciplines. Transportation offers internships and careers for students, research opportunities for faculty members, and business opportunities for businesses. The students interested in the academic program may contact the department. I see Alice Williams, who is the administrative assistant for the academic program. And actually the program is run by Dr. Chavez and Alice, but Alice knows about the program, the whole history of the program, and she has been with this program for 45 years. And so there's no better person who knows about the transportation program that we have here in Morgan than Alice Williams, who is here. And that's the young lady. So Those interested in the research area, of course, can contact Dr. Jihani. And thank you so much. Oh, okay. Oh, hold that.
You want that for him? Okay. Okay. It's not working?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ladies, do you want one of those?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Beautiful son. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
This is his till he starts choking. This is for him.
Can you all hear me well? Hello.
Yes.
Can you all hear me well? Thank you. So first I wanted to say welcome back. Thank you for joining us in conversation today. So when you were speaking, you spoke about racial inequity when it comes to transportation. I know a lot of students believe that once you graduate, their degree automatically opens doors for you. Based on what you said, it doesn't happen like that all the time. So from your experience, what does the journey into federal service really look like? And how can we position ourselves as far as skill development that may be unrealized while we're here at Morgan?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I was a student here, and based on my own personal experience, I think the first thing is that you need to focus on academic work. There's no question about that. Whatever degree you're pursuing, whatever major you have, it's important that you have the strong academic, background. So having said that, it's also important, though, that you have the other skills. For instance, interpersonal skills. My dad never looked back. It's. I encourage you, for instance, to be active in various organizations. That's where you could be able to get into those kind of skills. Maybe participate in various clubs. When I was in Morgan, I was an active participant in my own departments. For instance, we had clubs, economic clubs. We had foreign student association. We have Spanish club, and so whatever clubs or organizations you want to participate in, I think it's through those kind of activities that you can be able to develop those skills, the ability to work with other people. One of the things that I learned as a professional working in the U.S. Department of Transportation is that there are sometimes people really with strong technical knowledge, technical skill, engineers. We have engineers who are expert in their subject matter and also, but somehow they do not have the ability to work with others in team setting and so on. So they are the ones who do not necessarily get the opportunity to go up the ladder, professionally and so on. So combine technical knowledge with, the interpersonal skills and ability to work with people. I think those are important things, the way I see it.
Dr. Ayele, looking at the evolution of civil rights in the United States, how do you see the transportation sector reflecting broader social changes?
Yeah, okay. I think it's definitely transportation has played a role in the evolution of, civil rights and all that. In fact, this gives me the opportunity to tell you that there are transportation. In the transportation industry, there have been individuals who had been major contributions, significant contributions to the transportation industry or transportation field. Perhaps the most prominent person was a person named Garrett A. Morgan. You may have heard of it. Some of you may not have heard about that. He was a person, he was an African-American from Kentucky who invented the traffic signal that you see in the streets in the United States. You know, the red, yellow, and green. That has transformed, revolutionized, you can say, the traffic management in the United States. You know, not only in the United States, but all over the world. Before that invention, people had to manage traffic, you know, using manually, you know, standing at the intersection of streets and guiding traffic to go in different directions. So Garrett A. Morgan had made important contribution. So that's also, you know, you can keep that in mind. But also there are also others who played a major role in changing or advancing or improving the civil rights related, you know, issues in the United States. For instance, there were two key persons, African Americans, who served as Secretary of Transportation in different times. The first one, William Coleman, who served as a Secretary of Transportation under Gerald Ford for 2 years. He made he had a major impact in terms of transportation equity. I mean, equity and civil rights and so on. He also made, you know, a lot of other reforms in the transportation industry of his time. More recently, in 1997, Secretary Rodney Slater, who was the Secretary of Transportation, he too were really advanced civil rights related issues as it relates to transportation. He served under President Clinton. And so there have been a lot of efforts in those areas because of the work that these two individuals do in promoting equity, advancing and promoting civil rights as it relates to the transportation industry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
And returning back to the importance of groups and organizations, you and I spoke earlier about the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, briefly known as COMTU. Can you just give us an overview of the benefit of that conference and what it means to people like us?
Okay. Thank you for asking that question, because I think that would help you understand in fact, it also relates to the previous question that you had about civil rights. The Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, called COMTO, was established at Howard University back in 1971. And the basic purpose of the meeting was to organize and encourage African Americans to influence the transit industry. And a whole group of some federal transit employees, local transit, they all came at Howard and discussed and recognized the need for having an organization that will work towards, you know, to advance equity in the area of transportation. So first, it started as a transit-oriented organization, but slowly expanded its base to other modes of transportation. So right now, the COMTO works not only on issues related to transit, but also in all modes: aviation, highway, maritime, and all that. So what is interesting about COMTO is that it was established in 1971, and Morgan established its program in 1981, 10 years after that. And we worked very closely. In fact, the members of COMTO participated as members of the advisory committee for the transportation program that we have here. So COMTO is an organization that has grown significantly today. Today, COMTO has 40 chapters throughout the United States. Their basic purpose is to promote equity. Just the Congressman Mitchell was talking about, it's the same kind of issues in the area of transportation. So COMTO is based in Washington, D.C., but it has chapters in various parts of the United States. I believe it has a chapter in Maryland. We did have when I was here. There was a chapter in Maryland, and we work very closely with them. And by the way, the COMTO will be holding its 55th annual convention in Washington, D.C. coming this July. So that's an organization that just check it out and Google it, and you may be able to learn a lot from that. By the way, we used to have a chapter, COMTO student chapter here in Morgan. I don't know if we do have it now or this one, but yeah, COMTO is a great organization that you need to know about if you're interested in transportation. But it's also having major impact in the general policy on transportation and making sure that it incorporates issues related to equity in the industry.
Thank you. You've helped establish Morgan's Center for Transportation Studies. How important is it, particularly in these times, to create opportunities for Black students in STEM?
Oh, okay, great. STEM is very important. Science, technology, engineering, math, those are important skills that would really help you. And in fact, is the foundation for many of the things that we do in the transportation programs. STEM. As a matter of fact, there was a program called TRAC. The TRAC was a program established by an organization called AASHTO, American Association of State Highway Officials. They organized a program basically to develop STEM as it relates to transportation. STEM could go in other areas too. So it's very important that we develop that. STEM is really important. I think one of the challenge that we face is African Americans in the past. I think maybe things are changing nowadays. There was no strong maths and science, technology in those kind of backgrounds. And so, but I think things are slowly changing, but they're good foundation for the transportation field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going to open up the session to a Q&A. Anybody have any questions right now who wants to kind of ask it to the doctor?
No, we don't. Well, that's the only one we have.
Okay. Now can you introduce yourself as well when you're providing your question?
Good morning. Is it morning or afternoon? Good afternoon. My name is Zeke Botokuma. I am a philosophy professor here at Morgan State University. The reason why I am using this microphone is to seize this opportunity to wish everybody happy Black History Month. Next thing, this month is also an opportunity to think about some of the great people in the Black community, one of whom is sitting there. Not a long time ago, I saw a very racist image about the first Black US President, Barack Obama, and that destroyed my whole month of February. I was very happy that through reactions by many people on social media, reactions by politicians, that post was taken down. We are celebrating great people in this country, great Blacks who have made great contributions, and to see an image of the first Black family as monkeys was disgusting. And I just wanted to share my outrage about that. Last thing, excuse me. One of the questions was related to civil rights movement. And as we sit here, there is a great black person who made a contribution to civil rights movement and human rights. I am referring to Jesse Jackson, who passed away this week. And so please let us seize this opportunity to spend 30 seconds in his memory. May he rest in peace, in power, and in paradise.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions in here? I'm going to make my way to that side real quick. I think I saw your hand first.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Malaya Mason. I'm a junior political science major and philosophy minor from Baltimore, Maryland. My question is, particularly in Baltimore, what role do you believe that racism has played in the development or lack thereof in transportation systems? Some examples that I wanted to cite was the displacing of individuals in Baltimore, West Baltimore, for the expansion of Amtrak services, as well as the lack of development with our current metro system that we have that runs from Owings Mills to Johns Hopkins.
Good question. Great question.
Somebody's.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, sorry. Yes, well, that's you're asking a fundamental question, and certainly there's a serious issue in terms of the equity, the issue that we were talking about in terms of equity and the impact of transportation on different segments of the population, and this negative impact on minorities in some areas. You can cite so many areas where those kind of problems exist. And part of what we are trying to do by developing the kind of programs that we had here, and also by some of the policies that are being initiated and pursued by federal free folks, were just designed to address those kind of issues. So definitely in the case of Baltimore, I mean, there are all kind of problems that you can cite in terms of inequity, in terms of negative issues as it relates to the impact on minorities.
Thank you for that question. I saw one more hand up back in the back.
I hate to make you do all the running. Thank you. Thank you for doing all the running.
Thank you very much. I have not come in vain. I think I have come to learn more and to also meet you physically. Dr. Ayele, I just want to thank you and your team at the National Transportation Center. And I also bring good news about that specialized university in Nigeria, the Federal University of Transportation, that you all met. We had a Zoom meeting, and they will be coming shortly. They were given visa, and we will, by His grace, have this agreement. And I'm also delighted that the provost is here, and then Dave Barnett, who graciously was at that meeting also. So those folks, I was recording intentionally so that they can see what is going on at the National Treasure. So it's a comment. The second comment is the fact that some of my students, I teach Intro to African Diaspora this semester. I have to have my primary base, which is the history department that I joined in 2006 and became tenured in 2009. And I'm delighted that the dean is also here. And one major thing we're doing this semester differently is what I call the Diasporic Service Learning Project. to work in a team. And if they contact you, please kindly give them share knowledge that you have shared with us. And hopefully this will be syndicated not only on YouTube, but also across campus for learning to continue to occur. Thank you so much. God bless you.
He's going to walk it around. This will be the last question.
This is the last question. Thank you for that privilege. My name is Acha Dabala. I am an alumni of Morgan from the art department. I've been here from, I was in 1973 to 81. What I find amazing is that how situations create opportunities, and if you use them, that they can enhance lives across the board. And as such, my friend, Dr. Ayele, has been working quite a bit, both at Morgan as well as also in the federal sector, and in Washington, D.C., particularly in this transportation area. He's been very much interested also in Africa, has been going back and forth, doing what he can in enhancing lives over there as well. What I find to be very important is that if all Morgan alumni, like Dr. Moges and myself, were to try and come back from time to time and share what we have learned as a life's experience, I think it would be a wonderful opportunity. And I'm hoping that my friend, Dr. Tanabe, would know that Morgan State University has one of the highest level of collections of African American art and African art, as well as Asian Pacific. And it is a very important collection that most everybody borrows from whenever they have exhibitions relating to African American creative contributions. Having said that, I would like to let you know that as soon as I learned that this convocation was taking place, I made a decision to come with my wife from North Carolina, North Carolina Central University. So please continue to do this and enhance all programs that can be perhaps the passions of the Gamma, the various mega programs that have been created to undermine the civil rights movement and its achievements for such a long time. I really hope that everyone here would be a student of history to prevent something to happen twice. We will not allow our achievements, our ancestors' achievements, simply because one's notion of progress, which is really very fascistic. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for taking the time. Some of our students have to leave for class, so they might be tipping out, but I want to thank you, Dr. Ayele. You'll have the final word here, and then I'll give our closing.
Thank you. I just want to recognize Africans who are here. Thank you, first of all, Professor Dabala from North Carolina Central University for he's doing all kind of work as it relates to Africa, And I also saw Dr. Matafaria, who's also doing a lot of work as it relates to what's going on in Ethiopia and in Africa. There are all kind of challenges that we have in Africa, and it's really great that we have individuals who have committed to support efforts that would engage people from diaspora to promote Africa. And I also see Dr. Saka, who, by the way, has been very active in the transportation field, is also from Nigeria, and we really appreciate the work that some of the stuff that I was talking about in terms of the National Transportation Center or this Center for Transportation. He had played a major part there. By the way, I also see my sister and my brother-in-law there. So,
And your son. And your son.
And my son, yeah, my son. I saw him. I thought you saw him. So thank you very much for making it here.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ayele. Thank you, interviewers from the School of Global Journalism. Before we start with our closing with the alma mater, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson. Interestingly enough, the last comment about North Carolina, hailing from A&T, was a nice segue. So this is a series of just small vignettes that were shared that he is right there with Perrin Mitchell, Morgan's own here at Morgan State University with Dr. Cheek, and others in the 1970s. And these are just some ways in which we did kind of constantly remember those. In 2015, he gave the commencement address here when we acknowledged other civil rights leaders in that class as well. And then we have our final slide from our spokesman, where he was here in the 1980s. Those of us who are alive in the 20th century remember him running for president. And even though he didn't win, he was here visiting and talked about keeping hope alive. And that's what we should all take from Dr. Jesse Jackson. For those of us who breathed his air in the 20th century, for those young people who did not, take a moment to look beyond the Google and really understand the essence of a human being. So we want to take a moment of silence to acknowledge him for his service and his work. I want to thank you so much for attending. I want to thank the School of Global Journalism and my colleague, Professor E.R. Shipp, who does a masterful work with our students on both the undergraduate and graduate level. I want to acknowledge both the Provost, you, and Dean M. Gomes, and all the other deans in their offices, as well as faculty and staff. And those students who are matriculating, who are first-year students, hopefully you will learn something about Morgan in this rich history that Dr. Ayele has shared with us. As the university archivist, I'm trying to gather this story. We really want to talk with history and have some do a master's thesis on the Department of Center of Transportation, because Morgan's history has not been documented. And there are some great activities that Morgan has done that we just don't have documented. They're in the lives and minds of people such as Dr. Ayele, who I met in the archives because he gave me stuff. So we're going to be working on his collection as well. So once again, history is alive, it's behind us, but it's also before us. And we're stewards to need to be able to master that. So as we can all rise now, we're going to sing the alma mater, or we will have the gentleman sing. If you know the words, please join in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I know, I forgot. She's
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singers of our alma mater. Mr. William, members of the Pi chapter of Phi Alpha Sinfonia Fraternity of America. Fair Morgan, we love thee so tried and so true. Our hearts at thy name fill with pride. We owe thee allegiance, we pledge thee our faith which shall ever abide. We pledge thee our love, we pledge thee our faith, whatever the future may bring. And thus our devotion, fidelity to, and homage we pay as we sing. Sir Morgan, as onward the years quickly fly, and thou livest in memory sweet. We bring thee our laurels, whatever they be, and lay them with joy at thy feet. We pledge thee our love, we pledge thee our faith, whatever the future may bring. And thus thus our devotion, fidelity to and homage we pay as we sing. We pledge thee our love, we pledge thee our faith, whatever the future may bring. And thus our devotion, fidelity to and